Good evening. Tonight, we cut through the noise to bring you the stories that matter, from power struggles in the South China Sea to the latest on the U.S. campaign trail, war in Ukraine, and natural disasters. We'll also cover economic shifts, a new COVID variant, and a major tech launch. This is your 10-minute global news roundup for July 24, 2025. Let's dive into the world's top stories. We start in the South China Sea, where tensions are rising and the balance of power is being tested. Let's get started. Escalation in the South China Sea is drawing global concern. China has deployed 2 aircraft carriers and a fleet of destroyers near the contested Spratly Islands, calling it a defensive exercise. The Philippines, Vietnam, and Malaysia have condemned the move, with Manila placing its Coast Guard on high alert and filing a diplomatic protest. The U.S. Navy destroyer USS John S. McCain is patrolling the region, signaling American resolve. International bodies including the UN and ASEAN are urging urgent de-escalation. For local fishermen, these waters are their livelihood, now threatened by military posturing. The world is watching, hoping diplomacy prevails over force. The stakes: regional stability, international law, and the lives of ordinary people. This is more than a territorial dispute, it's a test of competing visions for Asia's future. The situation remains tense, with the risk of miscalculation ever present. We'll keep you updated as events unfold. In the US, the presidential campaign heats up as former President Trump questions NATO's core principle of collective defense. At a Pennsylvania rally, he suggested the US might not defend allies who don't meet defense spending targets. European leaders responded with alarm, emphasizing that transatlantic solidarity is non-negotiable. With the war in Ukraine ongoing, NATO unity is seen as critical. Trump's remarks fuel anxiety in countries like Poland and Lithuania and play into Kremlin narratives of Western division. The Biden administration condemned the comments, calling them a gift to Putin. Even within the Republican Party, there's division over America's role in NATO. The 2% spending debate is long-standing, but Trump's public questioning of Article 5 is unprecedented. Allies now wonder, is this campaign rhetoric or a sign of a fundamental shift in U.S. foreign policy? As the election approaches, the world is watching closely. The future of the alliance and global security hangs in the balance. We'll continue to follow the story. The war in Ukraine intensifies as Ukrainian drones strike Russian military targets in Crimea. The Sevastopol naval base, home to Russia's Black Sea Fleet, was hit, with explosions lighting up the night. Ukraine aims to degrade Russia's military capacity and disrupt supply lines. Russia claims most drones were intercepted, but local officials report damage and civilian casualties from falling debris. The attacks highlight the blurred lines between military and civilian targets in modern conflict. For Crimean residents, daily life is now marked by anxiety and danger. The peninsula has become a militarized zone, far from its days as a tourist destination. The international community watches, concerned about escalation and civilian suffering. The war's toll on ordinary people continues to mount. Typhoon Kaze, a Category 4 storm, has slammed into Kyushu, Japan, with winds over 150 miles per hour and torrential rain. Cities like Kagoshima face severe flooding, power outages, and widespread damage. Over 2 million people were ordered to evacuate. Shelters are full, and rescue teams are on standby. Despite Japan's preparedness, injuries are reported, and the risk of landslides remains high. Scientists warn that climate change is fueling more intense storms like Kaze. For Japan, this is both a disaster response and a glimpse of a more dangerous climate future. The full extent of the damage will emerge in the coming days. We'll bring updates as recovery efforts continue. In Israel, Prime Minister Netanyahu has signed a law exempting ultra-Orthodox men from military service, sparking mass protests. The law lowers the age of exemption for Haredi yeshiva students, deepening divisions over national service. Protesters, including reserve soldiers, demand equal burden sharing. The bill has fractured Netanyahu's coalition, with even his defense minister voting against it. The debate pits religious tradition against civic duty and national unity. As Israel faces security challenges, the question of who serves remains a raw, unresolved issue. The controversy threatens government stability and fuels public anger. This debate will shape Israel's future. Global oil prices have surged to near $95 a barrel, driven by renewed unrest in the Middle East and OPEC, plus production cuts. Tensions in the Strait of Hormuz, a vital oil choke point, have rattled markets. Higher prices mean rising costs for transportation, heating, and goods worldwide. Governments face tough choices, tap reserves or pressure producers, but options are limited. The volatility underscores the world's ongoing dependence on Middle Eastern oil. For consumers, higher prices at the pump and in stores are likely here to stay. Distant conflicts have immediate real-world impacts. The global economy remains vulnerable to geopolitical shocks. Catastrophic floods in northern Pakistan have left villages submerged and infrastructure destroyed. At least 50 are dead, hundreds missing, and many more displaced as monsoon rains trigger landslides and flash floods. Rescue operations are hampered by washed-out roads and ongoing bad weather. The military is airlifting supplies, but reaching remote communities is a race against time. Aid agencies warn of disease outbreaks and a long road to recovery. Pakistan, among the countries most vulnerable to climate change, faces repeated disasters despite contributing little to global emissions. The tragedy highlights the urgent need for international support. Climate change is making extreme weather the new normal. The world must act. Bitcoin has hit a record $85,000, reigniting debate over its future. Institutional investors and new ETFs are fueling the rally, making crypto more accessible. Some see Bitcoin as digital gold amid inflation and instability, others warn of a speculative bubble. Regulators remain cautious, citing volatility and concerns over illicit use and environmental impact. For investors, it's a moment of big gains, or big risks. The conversation has moved from online forums to boardrooms and governments. Whether this is a new era or another bubble remains to be seen. Bitcoin's influence on finance is undeniable. The WHO has issued a warning about a new COVID variant, Nu.25, detected in over a dozen countries. The variant has multiple mutations, raising concerns about transmissibility and vaccine effectiveness. Early reports suggest symptoms are similar to Omicron, with some gastrointestinal issues noted. No evidence yet of increased severity, but vigilance is urged. The WHO calls for increased surveillance and global cooperation in tracking variants. Familiar precautions, testing, staying home when sick, and vaccination remain key. The pandemic isn't over, the virus continues to evolve. Stay informed and stay safe. Apple is set to unveil the iPhone 17 at its September keynote, teasing a new dimension. Leaks point to a major design overhaul, wireless-only charging on high-end models, and a stronger titanium frame. The big focus new AI features in iOS 19, including a smarter Siri and advanced photo tools. The camera system is expected to get a significant upgrade, with better zoom and low-light performance. Apple faces a saturated smartphone market and needs to prove it can still innovate. The tech world is watching to see if iPhone 17 sets a new standard. We'll have full coverage after the launch. Here's a quick look at other global headlines. Brazil launches its first homegrown satellite rocket, marking a leap for its space program. The UK faces backlash over a restrictive immigration bill, sparking protests and debate. Nigeria's inflation rate drops slightly, offering hope amid economic reforms. Indonesia bans TikTok Shop to protect local businesses, igniting debate over digital commerce. France ramps up security for Bastille Day, deploying 45,000 police amid terror threats. These stories reflect a world in flux. Technological leaps, political divides, and shifting economies. We'll keep you updated. That's our global roundup. Tonight's stories, from power struggles to climate disasters, are all connected. Staying informed is the first step toward understanding our complex world. We aim to bring clarity and context, highlighting the people and consequences behind the headlines. Thank you for joining us. I'm Anderson Cooper for Global Headlines. Good night.